To the royalty, everyone. I'm your host, Derek F, aka Big D.
And I am your other host, Hannah, aka Chada. And as you can see, guys, this episode looks a little different. We don't have Tiffany this week because Tiffany is off doing Tiffany things. But we do have another member of the cookout, our fellow brother, Kyland. Some of you may know him as Big D. What is he called?
As they would say, Kyland Young, Kyland Crazy, number four. Is it Ucho?
No,
It was Quattro?
No, Ucho's in the word anywhere.
Oh.
But Ocho, I think you meant Ocho, which is fine.
Kyland Young, everyone, aka Simple Meals, aka smells everything that he's about to eat or anything at all. Welcome to the royalty, Kyland. How are you?
Welcome, Kai. Sorry about the shade, but it's going to keep coming.
I was like, what a welcome. I'm going to have to see who you guys ever welcome in such a way. Only me, but that makes me feel special, I guess. You know, you got to care to be able to start out with the shade immediately.
It comes from the heart.
Yes, it's fine.
It's always on the heart. Kyland, what have you been up to? Thank you for coming to the royalty. Tell us what you've been up to, because I know you travel all 50 states. I know that you have been everywhere with everyone in the challenge, Big Brother, Survivor, Amazing Race. I mean, you are just networking your ass off. I can't even keep up.
Well,
that is true. I never know which state you're in. It's
I
where's
to keep
Waldo?
people guessing.
On the United States map. Alaska, Hawaii, I don't know.
Haven't done Alaska yet, but would like to.
Okay.
But where am I? I mean, I'm here home in LA right now. Trying not to travel as much, but I was just with you, Big D, in in Pittsburgh. We had an amazing time in Derek's home state, Pennsylvania. And
wait, what were you guys doing in Pittsburgh?
There is a nonprofit called La Promesa, and they help raise funds for Latino, Latinx students in the area. And we went out there for a celebrity basketball game. Derek and I were opposing coaches. I think the score was tied at the end. No, I'm just kidding. No, his team absolutely destroyed our team. I mean, I don't know the full coach's input in this compared to just having LeBron James Jr. on this team dropping.
Wait, really?
No. It just was one of the Globetrotters, which we had good players too, but one of the guys was just going off. Anyways, but it was an amazing organization, amazing time. We had so much fun and we raised over 20 grand for the students. And then we also had the Survivor party out there as well with Bryce. I stood in for Wendell because people confuse us all the time anyways. So that was a real fun time. So that's only traveling.
Gotcha.
I know, we just can't keep up, it's just you're here, you're there. I mean, you be in the streets, as they say. So I'm just trying to figure out where you're going next. I can't keep up.
We said we're going to keep the shade mild. We're not going to
what's
too hot.
What's funny is I feel like one of the most things I've been doing lately has just been hanging out with, not in the streets, in the opposite, with this this wholesome family out here named a family called Family Fun Pack. They're one of the biggest YouTube families, old school YouTube, 10 million subscribers, and just it's a family with 2 parents and 7 kids, ranging from 2 to 16. And I met with them at this event out here in LA, Big Brother fans, and we just connected. And now, I've seen them every week. The last 3 weeks, we've shot videos and content because they're just teaching me more about YouTube and stuff. And so it's people are where are you going? When you're gone, I'm hanging out with this family, just doing wholesome family stuff with them on YouTube. And we haven't posting it yet, but it's just been real fun to learn it and to shoot it. And we can talk about that towards the end, just coming soon.
Well, I'm really excited to see those videos, but what does one do with a family of 9?
Well,
I'm so curious.
I mean, they do a variety of things. They do vlogs, they do skits, they do challenges. So one of the challenges that we did was a little food challenge where me, the pickiest eater of all time, you have to do. We spin a wheel. And
The
you and your team,
pickiest.
yes. And you
The
and your
pickiest.
team-
Simple is not in your category.
Simple is my category. That's my ideal category. It's the biggest misunderstanding of all time. But the I don't know if you talked about it already. I told Big D make simple foods. He thought I was insulting him rather than complimenting him because I love simple foods. I eat like a small child. Give me all the.
I think we need to rewind that back because it definitely didn't go down like that. It was not as like, loving some. It was like
Loving some.
you make simple moves and Ozzy
with
does
love, but you
gourmet,
took it as a way.
top Ramsay, top chef
That was
food
descriptive.
deals. Okay,
That was an accurate description. That is an accurate description.
Kyland, what was your biggest mistake on Big Brother season 23? Telling Big D that.
No,
he
I think
makes
definitely sending
simple
out
meals.
Hannah Chada. That was obviously the biggest mistake. She's the
Listen,
queen.
I was recovering. I was in recovery. I needed that. That was like my.
that is a
motivation.
lie. That is such a lie that's coming out his mouth. He knows his biggest regret was fighting with me. That was his biggest regret.
Definitely not.
That should be your biggest regret, though, because Big D was in love.
No, I should have just stayed. I should have just went rogue with the final four that we originally talked about, and and not catered to the needs. But it's
Like
neither
I
here
said,
nor
that
there.
is all on you. I was
100% on me.
I was in recovery, in jury.
100% on me. I should have went with Hannah and Tiffany's original plan of just cutting out Xavier, Derek and Ozza, final four,
And
but then
Xavier.
well, it's just them two
And
at
Tiffany.
first.
And then you should have taken me to the
Got
end,
it,
and
got
then
it. You're
I
right.
should have just been
That's what I
crowned.
should have done. So there
Yeah.
you go.
I could have broken your arm and gotten you medically disqualified from the game, and then the money would have just fallen into my hand.
Exactly.
Big D style.
No, but I digress. The challenge. So we spun this wheel, and it had different colors, and whatever color it was, that was the team that you were on, and that was the only food you could eat. Was that color? Only foods that were red, blue, or not red. It was it was red, green, purple, and yellow, or something like that. It was tough.
Oh, okay.
But
Vibrant.
it's a fun time. So stuff like that. It is all over the place, and then just working out. I had to come post workout. That's why I'm sweating like Derek right now. Like I just finished workout. I gotta throw one shot for every 18 that you throw my way. I'll just throw one. It's a nice ratio.
It's okay. I expected you did really good when we was in Pittsburgh. I was really like, wow, Kyland has really worked on his funny a lot since the Big Brother house because he wasn't funny in the house. So I'm so glad that he's worked on it. And then also, I think you just kind of full circle. Just remember, I love Big D so much, and I fucked up when I was in the Big Brother house, and I should have just catered to his needs, and he could have made it to the final three. Maybe you never know. But in other news, speaking of Big Brother, Kyland, have you been keeping up with BB Canada? Have you watched any of it? Have you saw any of the stuff that's been happening?
Do I lie?
No, you can be honest.
I have not.
No.
There's a lot of shows on TV. I still haven't finished. What's it called? BBCan, the last 2 seasons. I'm trying to watch those. I'm behind on all the shows. I haven't caught up on shows since we got out of Big Brother, our house. I have Disney Plus shows that I love that I haven't caught up on. So, I'm working my way down these lines.
Listen, no worries. That's why we're here. And I can completely agree that reality TV has become very oversaturated. So many networks and streaming services have all these shows that they're cranking out every single week. So that is why we're here, because we're going to break down all of our favorite reality shows so that you don't have to. So everyone sit back, grab a mug, sip your tea along with Kyland, Big D, and myself. It's the royalty. Let's get into BBCan. Big D, did you watch this last week? Oh, by the way, Kyland, this was a week.
This was a
a double event.
week.
All right, tell me.
This is probably a good time to be on the podcast because this was a week, and we definitely want to hear your feedback because you're such a mastermind, and you're always thinking 24 hours, 7 days a week because you can't turn that mind off of yours. Okay, just to kind of catch you up, what's going on in BBCan, okay? So we have Queen Koozie. Queen Koozie is like Tiffany unhinged, okay? She was HOH, and this week she's trying to get out her target is Ty, which I guess Hannah could really go into who Ty reminds us of.
So the way that we like to describe Ty is a combination of Xavier, Brent, and you, Kyland. He has the same rigidity as Xavier because he used to be in the military. So he's very like deadpan at all times. And the way that he speaks to people kind of reminds us of the way Brent would speak to people. But then he has also had his back up against the wall for a minute now. He doesn't have any true allies left in the game. So he has essentially had to win his way off the block from week to week, or he's had to evade getting backdoored by winning vetoes and winning HOHs. Kind of similarly to how you were at the end, Kai. You just kept winning, and as soon as you didn't win, that's when they got rid of you. That is no tea, no shade, but that's essentially what happened. So that is Ty, and Koozie wins the HOH, and the Tiffany of the BBCan 11 house wants to target the Kyland because at this point Ty is just too big of a competition threat, and as long as he's in the house, he is going to find himself holding some sort of power through winning these comps. But then Arissa, the host, announces that they're doing a chain of safety, a surprise chain of safety to determine who leaves. So now Queen Koozie's HOH is null and void. The only thing that guarantees her is safety and a spot in the final 7. So let's get into the chain of safety, Big D. They're all sitting around this huge table. It's very ominous. There's like blood everywhere, and it's very dimly lit. Honestly, my heaven. And Koozie starts off the chain of safety and has to pass it on to someone. And the last 3 people who don't, grab a hold of the chain of safety have to compete. One of them wins, takes themselves off the block, and then the other 2 are the official nominees up for eviction, and then the house has to vote one of them out. So that is how the chain of safety works in BBCan. And Queen Koozie passes it on to
Queen Koozie, a post passes it on to Hope. But just to kind of give a little bit of backstory of what happened before we got here, Kylan, there was like a room of like books, okay? And Daniel C, the library, okay? Same thing, a room of books, okay? Just take my definition for it, okay? And Daniel C, who's basically the mini me, okay? Goes into this room, okay, and the books start falling. So I guess this room has like power, or you could find something. The thing I like about BBCan is that every time there's an opportunity for you to win some type of advantage. That's how I feel. I feel like you know how like we sat around a lot and there wasn't really a lot happening. I feel like BBCan, they have a lot of things happening. So he goes into this room, he finds the book, he starts like the books start flying. So he start like looking through the books, he finds a page, he realizes it's a clue. Here comes Anika, who's also, I guess Anika is Hannah in a sense. So Anika comes in, her and Daniel C are going through the book, and then here comes Hope, which Hope is like their savior, basically are like their comp beast who will save them or whatever. He comes in and he's like barricades the door because he doesn't want nobody else to come in. So there's a team of 3 girls. They call themselves like the what? The Princess Poppies?
the girly pops.
Okay, whatever, girly pops, whatever. So the girly pops are like kind of walking around like, what is everybody doing? So then Hope decides to let in other people that are considered of their alliance, but really is not a part of their alliance. They're just kind of like our plus ones, if that makes sense, of the cookout.
Well,
so he lets them.
Definitely not plus ones, but I think like Ty, because Ty is kind of stronger than Hope. So even though Hope is really tall and has a lot of muscles, Ty pushed his way into the room. And then at that point, Hope was like, whatever, I'll let in Santina. I'll let in Koozie. Koozie's part of our alliance. But I would not call Ty and Santina their plus ones. Ty and Santina are very much just in the middle of the house and have no one. And then you, of course, have the girly pops on their side of the house. And the girly pops, they're all Gen Z. So they're all very young. They're all kind of basic. They all talk in TikTok lingo.
Yes.
So essentially me, but perhaps more annoying than me.
Yeah.
Or maybe less annoying. That's subjective.
Yeah, I
but
mean you are annoying, so I mean I would kind of say it's even out. But so basically they are outside of the room. Everybody else is in the room. Hope got this room barricade, so you can't do nothing. You can't get in. So lo and behold, they find all the papers, and now we're here. They find out it's an invitation to the safety circle of trust, whatever they want to call it.
But what I do want to ask is, I kind of laid out the structure of the house. You have the girly pops on one side. You have the crown on the other side, which is Daniel C, the mini Big D, Anika, kind of like me, Queen Koozie, which is Tiff, and then Hope, who's like their comp beast, and then you have Ty and Santina completely in the middle. They're not attached to anyone. And the crown is still like, we need to get rid of Santina because she's a strong competitive threat. And that is true. Like out of the 6 HOHs that they had up until that point, she had won 2 of them. So she was very strong in competitions. But also, does it make sense for you to want to get rid of someone who's rogue and in the middle over an alliance of 3 when you have the opportunity to break them up? What do you think, Kai?
Ooh, I mean, that's tough because I feel like you do, at the end of the day, you need the votes, you need the numbers. And if you have somebody that's rogue, they could go either way. But if you have somebody that's alliance that's already this tight, this deep in the game, they're probably going to stick together. So it is kind of that decision of like, okay, I have 3 guaranteed people voting together versus just if I get rid of one of them, then there's only 2 people voting together. And this third one, this rogue person, I might be able to convert to my vote. So I think that makes sense. What you're saying.
I think so too, Kai. And what ends up happening, those 3 girly pops, they haven't won an HOH all season. They've only won 1 veto all season. One of them ends up winning HOH. So now the crown is like, are you kidding me? We should have kept Santina. Because like you said, those are 3 people that are going to be voting together. They're going to keep each other safe no matter what. Like when Santina was campaigning to stay in the house, because Ty ended up winning that safety chain competition, so he pulled himself off, and it was Santina and Renee sitting on the block next to each other at the end of the night. And Santina
They're
was
both
like,
girly
I'm not
pops.
even going to try to campaign for... No, Santina is not a girly pop.
Oh, okay.
Renee
okay.
is a girly pop. So Santina was the target for some reason. The crown, even though Renee was on the block, and she's part of the girly pops, this alliance of 3, the crown was still like, we need to get rid of Santina.
Wow.
But Santina was like, I'm not even going to try campaigning to Claudia and Shania, the other 2 girly pops, because they're always going to vote for their friend. I mean, that alone should have told the crown, like, at this stage in the game, 2 votes can mean the difference between someone staying and someone leaving. And like you said, Kai, those 3 are always going to vote together, have each other's back. They're not going to put each other on the block. They're not going to vote for each other. So I don't know why they didn't take the opportunity to get one of them out when they had the chance. I think they probably underestimated them. But the next HOH, sure enough, Claudia, one of the girly pops, she ends up winning. But what's interesting is she decides that she wants to target Ty, the only floater left, and also her showmans. So, puts up Ty on the block next to Hope because Hope is in the crown, but Hope is the comp beast of the crown. So she's like, my biggest, since the HOH doesn't get to play in the veto comps in Big Brother Canada, she was probably thinking my safest bet of Ty not winning this veto is putting him up next to Hope so that Hope is guaranteed to play in this veto comp. Well, Ty ends up winning the veto again, pulls himself off, and at that point, Claudia's like, well, I have to go after the crown, so I'm putting up the Tiffany. So Tiffany is now sitting next to Hope, which is their comp beast, but Hope doesn't really have a strategic bone in his body. Every week, he volunteers to go on the block. He doesn't have much of a social game either. He's just like very lovable. He's young and he's good at competitions. He's like their sword. So at that point, I thought that they were going to get rid of Queen Koozie because every single juror on their way out said Koozie's going to win this game. Like it's Koozie's game to lose at this point. The house is aware that Koozie is the strongest player. She's so socially adept. And yet the house still decides to send Hope out the door. So I'm not really understanding what's happening here.
But I mean, that's just the skill set for her. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, that's a testament to how, I guess, well she's managing her threat level. But what's interesting is in their DRs, players are saying, like, yeah, Kuzi's the strongest person in this house, yet they still don't vote her out. I think that this cast is very hung up on people's abilities to win competitions. It seems like they're more so threatened by that than someone's ability to make a case for themselves at the very end of the game. And that is a difference that I have noticed between previous seasons of Big Brother Canada and then seasons of Big Brother US. I feel like BBUS is a little more holistic in who players
who
look
can
to
I beat
target.
at the end versus who's going to
Yes.
beat me in these competitions.
Exactly. So I just find that to be an interesting difference between the two franchises. But I thought, because last week, Big D, you made a prediction. Like Daniel C. and Anika, the Hannah and the Big D, they're going to turn on Tiff. They're going to turn on Kuzi sooner rather than later. I thought that this was going to be the week that they did so. And it seemed like they were leaning that way. But maybe they just didn't trust that Hope and Ty wouldn't end up forming something. And they have been winning most of the comps this season. So maybe they thought, like, if they end up forming a final two, then there's just, like, they're going to keep winning back to back to back. Maybe that was their mentality.
To be honest, I thought the same thing, but I think what kind of came down to it is that I think because their loyalty is so strong and they feel more comfortable, I'd rather have you here if I'm that loyal to you than to get rid of you right now, because I'd rather have a competition where I feel like I'd rather lose against my friend. That's just my mindset, and I feel like that's Daniel C's mindset. Where Nika, I still think she will pull that trigger when the time comes. I think she's just like, it's not time yet. We still need Kuzi here because Kuzi's also a protection for them to be like, you guys should put up Kuzi. Don't put us up. We're not even a threat. So that's another thing I think that played into their heads of, when Hope was trying to pitch to them. But lo and behold, Hope is on the block. He's next to Kuzi. Unfortunately, with everything that's going on, and Kuzi's also a great mastermind. She's really good masterminding, and she makes, is it Claudia who's the HOH? She makes Claudia just look dumb and make her feel guilt trips her pretty damn well, and very like in her face type of thing. So they end up being a, if I'm correct, 6-1 or 5-1 vote, if I'm correct.
4-1.
4-1 for Hope to go home. Hope unfortunately goes home. And let me tell you something. The one thing I like about this cast, they go out in style. They started dancing, doing the TikTok dance. All of them were in sync. It was so lit. Like it
They
basically
put
was.
me in that house.
Yes, we would have been
TikTok
great
was.
in that house. I would have said that.
I'm saying me. You guys didn't even know.
No,
what
you're a
TikTok was.
fashionista. You didn't know what that was.
Wait,
Maybe
did
you
you
wanted to
even have a
dance it.
TikTok though?
Huh?
Did you even have a TikTok when you were in the house?
Yeah, I did. I didn't.
I feel like
post
you were
on
the most
TikTok.
like now all of a sudden obviously you're all on it, but I feel like you were telling us how you're just a social media inept Gen Zer and
Fashion.
we didn't believe you, but then we got out and we're like, oh yeah, you've never used social media pretty much as any Gen Zer.
Yeah, but I would still watch TikTok dances.
Got
like
it. Got it.
My sister would teach me. I remember Brittany and I would always like be in the corner doing TikTok dances. Cause
True. Okay. Yeah,
I had
yeah,
seen
yeah,
a ton
true.
of them before. Yeah.
I did I don't know. I guess like watching them dance, it kind of reminded me of just our cast and how much fun we had. So I think that's why I'm enjoying this season so much. So they end up, it's time to crown a new HOH, and it was a
Renee.
before and after challenge, and Renee wins HOH, which is one of the girly pops, and we don't know what's going to happen this week, but I think that she's going to be targeting Queen Kuzi again. I don't
Ty.
see why not. Or Ty. Both of them on the block.
So, Big D, I think you're right. I think Daniel C and Anika were probably like, as long as Kuzi is in the house, we are protected, because the girly pops are all going to go after her. And who knows what Ty's going to do. Ty is completely unpredictable because he has attachments to no one. Him and Claudia are no longer in a showmance because Claudia was just trying to send him out the door last week. So they broke up. So sad. Not sad at all.
Well, let me say this. At least Ty is surviving. And to get into Survivor, have you been watching Survivor, Wendell?
Well, as when I was playing Wendell at the in Pittsburgh, I did get to catch that episode. That was crazy, and I'm actually hyped to watch the episode, to watch this season, because I only got to see like the premiere and then that one episode, and that one episode was so exciting, even without knowing most of the context of what was going on. I was like, I gotta watch this just to get in on the rest of this excitement. So I'm definitely not fully caught up, but I at least saw that episode, which obviously gave like, you know, some background of where the game was at least a week ago. So I wouldn't have seen this past week, but I am very interested in so many of these people.
I will say that was a great episode to watch because, you know, Matt and Franny remind me of Derek X and Claire, and, you know, it was just very, like, crazy just to see how that all went down. But going into this week, in case you didn't see, Kai, you know, of course, Matt goes home. We are back at Tribe. We are just kind of, Franny is just kind of just a broken wreck. She's just distraught. She don't know what to do. She's just like, I can't believe I lost him, and kind of feels a little bit like it's her fault.
And she's also like, am I next? Big D, okay. We just talked. We did our own mini recap so you would know what happened. Okay, let me take it from here.
Thank you so much, because I can't fucking remember. Let me tell you something. There's so many damn shows, like you said. I can't keep up. I need, like, we're doing 3 shows. I'm fucking trying. But go ahead. Once you start, I'll pick up where you at. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. That's why I keep, like, a little notebook for the royalty.
I didn't really have time for a notebook this week.
On paper. No worries. That's why I'm here. Because Survivor with Big D, Kyland, is a trip.
Actually, I got it now. See, I just thought about it. Okay, so now we're back. Okay, so we're back. We have a challenge, okay? The teams get the Tribe, everyone's here, everybody's here to merge, everybody's together. They get a note from Jeff basically saying, hey, you guys got to break yourselves up into 2 teams, basically duos. Everyone's kind of like, don't know what to do, because also our poor little baby who we love so much, Carson, is a little bit sick. You know, he's throwing up. I think it's just dehydration, the food that he had, because, you know, like when you come out the Big Brother house and you eat some food that you haven't had for a while, you're going to be fucking shitting your brains out for a minute. Okay. So I think he was just sick from the peanut butter and jelly. He had a bunch of peanut butter and jelly. He ended up being sick. Jam and, you know, Carolyn comfort Carson, because that's their friend. They're on the same tribe together. They call themselves the 3 Stooges, which I love that name for them. Yeah. You know, he's sick, so it's time to pick teams. Everyone's trying to be strategized. Like, who do they pick? Do you pick somebody who's the same as you? Do you pick somebody stronger? You don't know if you're working with this person, going against this person. So some of all the teams, you know, match up. And, you know, they get to the competition. And this is one of those competitions, which I love, the Survivor competitions, where they have to basically go through like this net in mud. And it's like, you got to twist yourself out. Like you look like a hot dog on a rolling thing. Okay. Or a pretzel on a rolling thing, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay. So they go into this net. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. Stop acting like you don't know what I'm talking about. They go into this net, okay? And lo and behold, you know, they're twisting their body through this net, just like this. They're turning their body, they're turning the net, and it's in mud. So they're covered in mud, like disgusting, okay? Carolyn, our star, our queen, who I love so much, put her on every show because I can watch her 1,000 times. She's in the net like, like going insane, because it's scary. You're stuck in a net, you're in mud, everything. Okay,
how would you have been in that net?
I'm sorry, I would have did perfectly. I would have did great. I would have been very like. Let me tell you something.
I think you would have made that exact sound. I think you would have made that exact sound.
No, I would have been flawless. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. That would have been a comp. Just me laying on my ass, like they say. I laid on my ass all the whole season, and I just had to turn my body around. That would have been great. I would have been turning like a fucking hot dog. Let's go. Fuck that, okay? So the teams that make it in this comp, because there's different stages. A team is going to get eliminated each time, and then it's going to come down to a final two teams, which is final four. Okay. So the next thing, unfortunately, which worked out because Carson's sick and Carson was Carolyn's partner, ends up not, making it through. Carolyn couldn't get it through in time, and everyone else gets through. Okay, so now they have to work on digging. They're digging. They get their stuff. They get their beams. Last team to make it gets eliminated. Fast forward. We now have to use planks to go over this like tightrope. Now Kyland, you are a challenge all-star, the king of the challenge, the king of competitions, the smiley teeth and me, as I like to say, like Timmy Turner. What? You are just like you are the shit. Okay, so you have to go over these like rope beams. They go over these rope beams, and everyone did really, really good. No one like messed up and had to restart. It was just a tight race. And the two teams that make it through is Lauren and Danny, Lauren. And Brandon and who's the redhead kid?
Kane.
I can never remember Kane because Kane is just there. I don't even know. Kane is just Kane. I don't know what Kane is. I ain't got nothing else to say. Okay, so they get to the platform. Now it comes down to the final four of them. Now, Kyland, here's the comp. I want you to put yourself in this zone. Okay, there is walls, and they have little shelves, but they get smaller. So you got to have your feet and your hands like this.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, I hate that one. That looks terrible.
Okay. What do you do? Because I want to hear your strategy. What do you do in this moment?
To the size of Hannah.
No, what is that supposed to mean?
You're talking about
Come on, a torsionist?
You're talking about when you hold yourself between the walls and your feet are on those little pegs that get smaller and smaller as time goes on. Yeah, you want to be a smaller person. Yeah,
but I'm not a smaller person.
But you weigh less. You're 6'2", but you're thin. You're 6'2", but you're very thin.
No, that is not true. Big D and I are the same size. That is why I wear his clothes. What am I talking about?
So we come down to this.
Then you shrink down to the size of Tiffany. There you go. You shrink down to the size of Tiffany.
Fair.
Okay. Now, of course, now it becomes an individual game. Now, looking at this challenge, I'm thinking you got Brandon. He's this big, tall, like Monty's height type of dude. I would say that his body frame is like yours, strong, lean, whatever. So I'm thinking in my head, he ain't gonna make it long. Then you got Kane. Kane is there too. Kane's actually doing a pretty good job. And then you got Danny.
Danny's like Brent's size, like very compact.
Compact.
What?
So then you got Danny and you got Lauren. Lauren is basically like a Tiffany size. Yes, a Hannah and Tiffany size, okay? So they do really, really well. Unfortunately,
wait, who's winning? Yeah.
I will say this. I'm going to tell you.
Who drops first?
So,
tell me the order. Tell me the drop order.
Okay, so the first person that drops is Brandon. Brandon drops first. Kane dropped first? Yeah. Damn, see, I can never remember Kane. Okay, so...
That's why you need a notebook.
So Kane drops first, and then Brandon drops after, and then it comes down to Lauren and Danny. Now keep in mind, each time Jeff is telling them to move to smaller and smaller pegs. Like I'm talking about to the point, like the pinky toe is like this on the edge of the last thing.
I have to say one thing about Survivor and the competitions and Jeff, because one thing I was new to. I didn't watch Survivor till my first time till last year. And like the end of last year, and I started watching it, and I was like, okay, I do really like it. I cannot get over Jeff's commentary during the competitions ever, because I'm like, what if you're flying under the radar, you have lots of people like you, and then the competition just have Jeff and then of course we have Sarah, who once again is proving what an absolute liability she is to her team and how worthless she is at these competitions and how she's holding them back. And then, of course, we have Tom, who's dominating this and is clearly demonstrating why he is the biggest threat out here. Like, I'm like, whoa, bro, like, let people play without...
And Kai, that's why I say every time that he needs to learn how to shut the fuck up. Kai, I'm so glad we are in sync. We're normally not in sync, but I say that every episode I'm watching Survivor on this damn podcast. If Jeff don't shut the fuck up when it comes time to tribal and all these competitions, because if I'm sitting up there like, I don't need, Big D looks like he's going to drop it any second because he's not good at anything, but you know what, maybe he'll hold up. Jeff, shut the fuck up.
Maybe for once in his life, he will be worth something.
Yes, maybe once in his life. Big D, how do you feel up there? What are you thinking about? I'm thinking about food and how I want to win this comp. Like, no, I don't want to talk. Don't talk to me. What the fuck are you talking about? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. God damn. So we get to... It comes down to
the last two. Tell us.
Yes, it comes down to the last two, which is Lauren and Danny.
That's
and I'm so happy Lauren won.
That's why I said that. When you said who for, I was like, this is Lauren's.
Yes. So Lauren had the right body type. This was great for her. You know, of course, Jeff was doing what he normally does. Like, who are you doing this for? You know, and... Of course, people are talking during the comp, like struggling for their dear lives. And she's like, I'm doing this for my kids and my children and teachers and all that bullshit. So she wins. She's so excited. I love her reaction because you could tell like these people really are excited to win. Just like when we won on, I'm sorry. I never had that feeling, so let me take that back. Just like how you guys won competitions because mine was stolen from me from a fucking egg. Lauren wins. She gets immunity. We fast forward. It's time for tribal. Okay, Jeff does his normal thing. Welcome to tribal. Everybody starts asking everybody questions, just random questions to just give it up.
Can I interrupt you because before?
Yes,
tribal,
please do.
There was a lot of chatter, so it seems like, okay, because right now you have 4 members from Raw 2, the Yellow Tribe. You have 3 members from Soka, the Green Tribe, and then 3 from Tika, the 3 Stooges. And something that I've noticed in this season of Survivor is even though they are at the merge and it's supposed to be an individual game, it seems as though people are heavily gravitating towards their tribes. And that does make sense. I mean, you spent X amount of days with those people. You probably trust them more so than you trust people who you just met 3 days ago. But it does seem like this season is very tribe heavy. And you sort of have Ratu and Soka that are at odds with each other. They are in battle with one another. And then you have the 3 Stooges in the middle who are seen as 3 votes that either side can use. So instead of looking at the 3 Stooges as, you know, the 3 people who technically hold the most power in this game because they are the most unpredictable and they don't owe anyone anything, people are very much overlooking them. So Jam Jam, Carolyn, and Carson are in such a good spot where nobody is looking at them when I believe that they should. Or at least, like, pay them consideration instead of being like, oh, yeah, Carolyn,
basically
Jam,
the Big
Carson,
D.
we love them.
We love them. Yep.
So Ratu is looking at Franny as a physical threat because she tends to perform well in competitions. She's also strategic. She also has Matt, her little showmance, in the jury. So they're probably thinking if she's able to make it to the end, that's already 1 vote that she almost is positive to have. So Ratu wants to take out Franny. Now Soka, the tribe that Franny's a part of, is looking at Brandon on Ratu because Brandon is probably the most physically capable and strong player, and he consistently performs well in challenges as well. So now everyone is essentially rushing to get to the 3 Stooges to secure their votes. Carson, Carolyn, and Jam Jam. The majority of the episode is just us watching these people campaign to Carson, Jam Jam, and Carolyn, trying to get them on their side. And this is a very critical point in the game because if the 3 Stooges decide that they're with Soka, now that side has the majority, and Ratu will probably get picked off one by one. On the flip side, if Ratu is able to secure the Three Stooges, then Soka's probably going home one by one. So that's where we're at. And then Danny has an idol, Danny on Soka, and he's telling Franny, hey, I might play my idol for you so that their votes don't count. Even if the Three Stooges flip and decide to vote with them, you won't go home. But Franny's like, I mean, that sounds peachy keen, but I don't know if I can trust that. Now we're at Tribal.
And lo and behold, I think we really do have the first time where a player I felt like was really surprised. And Danny uses the idol on Franny. Everyone's shocked. He uses the idol on Franny. So any votes against Franny does not count. But lo and behold, all the votes were already against Brandon in the first place. And Brandon gets blindsided and he gets sent home. And he was a big, heavy player, a target that I felt like could have really went far because he was a comp beast. And he goes home. And I think it was crazy to see. But go ahead, Hannah, add what you wanted to add.
Do you think that was the smartest move for them? Or do you think that they should have all just voted out Brandon? And that way, Danny wouldn't have had to play the idol. But also, like, you want to flesh out idols that aren't in your possession.
I always say, watching these games, after Big Brother especially, I always look at people's moves and say that, like, you know, pinning that they're, depending on their reasonableness as a whole, I'm always just like, hey, whatever they did probably made sense to them, given the information that they had. And give them the input that they had, because I think that one thing I always try and tell people is that these games like aren't just chess, and they aren't just chess or something like that. They're also poker, and when you play poker with somebody, that's the stuff that you can't really translate on screen, because sometimes people are like, "Why did you make that call in poker?" It's like because he blinked twice, and that is something that nobody will. And that's something sometimes that we even pick up subconsciously.
Yes,
like
Kyland
will say like, "Hey, I had a gut feeling about this or whatever. You know, I just had a feeling that he didn't have it." And I think that that's the hardest part to translate, because that's when we're getting into the subconscious decision making, where we don't even know as humans, like, we're bad sometimes at articulating like our rationale. We'll rationalize something even if that wasn't the actual reason that we chose to do something, just because we do it to the best of our abilities. So I mean, when he says that's the smartest move for them, I'm like, if the rest of their actions, like I said, I haven't caught up in the season, but if the rest of their actions are making pretty smart, consistently reasonable or smart decisions, then this was probably another one of those given their perspective. But like, we just didn't get to see their perspective, most likely. Or it could be something emotional based on some other stuff that came up, but that just depends on what type of person they are.
That's a really good point. And
that's a really good point.
Another question that I have for you guys is, now with Brandon being gone, everything is even. You have 3 members from Ratu, you have 3 members from Soka, 3 members from Tika. How does that change the dynamic of the game moving forward? Is it still going to be a Soka versus Ratu war? Or are people going to now look at Tika as being even with them, and therefore they should be considered too as targets? Is that how you think it's going to
I think the 3 Stooges are going to still be in the middle, and the other 2 tribes are going to go after each other. That's how I think and how I feel. And with Carson kind of being like with everybody, he's going to kind of be the voice for all this. So next week, my prediction coming up tomorrow, Wednesday, I think that I have a feeling that Danny's going to go home. That's just my prediction. Yeah. If they don't get him out, they're really not smart if they're really trying to win some of these comps, because he's the next person that can win, or Franny, one of the 2.
Who do you guys think is playing the best game? Because now we're at the halfway point. We're down to 9 people. We started off with 18. Who do we think is playing the best game based on what you guys have seen so far? And who do you think is going to win based on the editing and how it seems like the show is setting these players up?
I'm going to say the best player who's winning the game right now is going to be Kyland all day is playing the best game ever.
Okay. What about you?
I'll have to catch up and before I make my assessment. Yeah. I mean, I think that, I don't have enough context. I feel like it'd be interesting. You just mentioned though that Carson is well positioned, like with everybody, and I think that's
He
always a
is,
good thing.
Kyland.
If you're well positioned with everybody, then that could be the best place that you could possibly be. Especially now that he's a little bit sick. Like it'd be interesting because then they're like, okay, he's like, we like him, and he's not as big of a threat because he's a little bit weakened. So that could be enough to move him forward.
I think
What you think, Hannah?
Go
No,
ahead.
Hannah, what do you think?
Okay, I think I don't want to use the word so-and-so is playing the best game because I don't know what the edit is misrepresenting. I don't know what the edit is leaving out. But in terms of like the style of gameplay and the strategy that I am gravitating towards as a viewer, I personally love seeing Carson in this game. Carson is only 20 years old, so he's very much the baby of the island. I think everyone has sort of adopted him as like the little brother. They feel emotionally connected to him and protective over him. So he is doing even though he's a genius, like the boy literally works for NASA. He's doing such a great job of managing his threat level. But I'm almost wondering, I think he's going to be like the Jesse from season 43 or the Shan from 41 or the Tiffany of our season, where it's only a matter of time before people catch on to that and he gets sent home. He's like the robbed king. That's what I think the show is kind of setting him up to be. I think that Carolyn's gonna win because she's quietly been narrating the season, and I think they're giving her the Erica edit from season 41, where she is the underestimated one, but she's gonna end up making it to that final tribal, sort of like Marianne in season 42, and she's going to be able to articulate the heck out of her game and how everything was intentional. So I think Carolyn's gonna win, but I'm enjoying watching Carson play the most.
Yeah, me too. So, yes. So I will say this, Kyland, you being the challenge god, I know, knowing that because you have so many networks in the challenge, I know you are keeping up with the challenge world, global world championship, long title, exclamation point, world competition show. Okay, let me set the tone for you. So, Hannah's gonna kill me. So.
Benha, not Baha. Benha.
Baha and Jody.
Benha.
Benha and Jody, okay, end up going in elimination. But before we get there, okay, we have another.
Oh my gosh! Yes, the whole. Wow, what? Sorry.
It was a good episode.
I have so many things. Yes.
Yes,
so
please go. We'd love to hear it. Please go.
All right. So this is the episode where right before the challenge, we find out that Ben has like a blood sickness or something that sends him home. So then
everyone's dying. Everyone got COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's dying. It's 2020.
Ben's sick, and then Amber's been sick this whole season. So we have 3 people that are super sick, and they've been talking about the whole season. And then we have last minute, they're able to convince Tristan not to leave. It's Tristan, right? That they convinced not to leave. Mm-hmm. And Kellyanne's partner.
I'll be honest, I think Tristan was over Kellyanne. I think he's just like, I feel like he's really over Kellyanne because Kellyanne's a special type person and I love her, but I could definitely see he's just over. He's like, man, I just want to come and chill and just play a game. And Kellyanne's like, we have to win. You better figure it out. Or their dynamic, I'm worried. So yes, she did get convinced.
He
to
was
stay.
able to get
Go
over
ahead,
it. So maybe he was. And then we had Casey. So Casey's there, and what's his name? And TJ says like, hey, Ben's gone. So unfortunately, Casey, your partner's gone. So you have to go as well. And Amber had told me about this and how this was not like,
tea. We love some tea. We love some tea.
Yeah, it's not like she asked production if she could do this, and then they got approval, and TJ knew this was going to happen. This all happened in real time. Literally, TJ was like, Casey, because your partner's gone, you're gone too. That's the way this season works. And then Amber was like, this is a moment because she is such a queen. I'm such a big Amber fan because for so many reasons. And especially we've been connecting more just talking about stuff on the autism spectrum and like late diagnosis. But even before that, you always would see Amber kind of getting like a lot of flack and it was always kind of really hard to understand why. And now it makes so much more sense because I'm like, oh, she just communicates differently. And I obviously relate to that. So she took that as her opportunity and was just like she was feeling so incredibly sick, but was just gonna ride it out as long as she could possibly do it, just for her partner's sake. And then she saw an opportunity to make sure her partner was okay, and she jumped on it in that moment and stepped out and was like, "Hey, TJ, I don't feel like I can physically continue. Can my partner be Casey's partner? Can I switch places with Casey? And so that way I'll go home and Casey can actually stay with my partner and move on to Team Australia." And they decided, yeah, like, you know what, let's allow it. So I thought that was just such a boss move from Amber in terms of like going as long as she possibly could just for her partner's sake and making sure they were still okay when she left. And then obviously making the right decision because she found out after she was pregnant, and that's why she wasn't feeling well. So very exciting. Due soon. And
I just want to say congratulations to Amber. We're so excited for her, and I know she recently had her baby shower, so excited for her. This is great, and like you said, it was good news. It was a good reason for her to leave the game, so very happy for that.
Okay. Yes, very happy. And then, so now Casey's brand new to Team Australia with, I'm forgetting his name.
I can't remember his name. Troy.
Notebooks,
Troy.
guys. Notebooks.
Thank you. Yeah, you're right. Troy, who was the winner of Australia, I believe. And so he is, and people kind of, you're always looking for any excuse to throw somebody in. So they throw them in as the house vote. They're like, but then we have that whole drama with Tori and Danny that is.
Let me just say one thing. Go ahead, Hannah. Go ahead.
Please.
Oh, well, I was just going to say the challenge that they competed in this week was very similar to the challenge that you won, Kyland, on the Challenge USA Season 1 with Alyssa. It was trivia, except there was like a roulette element, and then you could sabotage another team.
Yeah, because you answered all the questions. You actually won that challenge. You won the challenge.
No, there's two parts. There's two parts to that because Alyssa, we literally split the roles. I was like, I'm going to think about the question. You listen to the answers and make sure we don't repeat anything. So she did, and that's just hard. People don't really recognize that. I'm
just messing. It's all love. I'm just messing. Of course, I didn't win anything in life, so I can't say. Actually, I did. I won a lot in life.
Yes, exactly.
But yes, please continue.
You're winning right now.
Yes, I am winning. I was able to use 5 people to make it to the end, so it worked out.
Exactly.
So, yes.
You're here with us
but
now,
then one of them ended up beating you.
I know. I know, because you guys voted incorrectly. Don't forget.
I still stand behind my vote.
Anyways, what were we saying? Where were we
So we get to Tori and Danny. They have a lot of drama. You could tell that they're just not getting along, which, here's my thing. I think Danny, as he always likes to talk about his wife, Kiki, I know she's sitting at home kind of saying, yes, pick Tori, but I can understand why Danny's frustrated because at the end of the day, Danny needs to be the number one thought, and Tori's thought is always on Jordan when they're not together, or always on Casey, or always on, Josh and the rest of them. I call them the yachter crew because they're always on yachts partying together. So she's always on her mindset with that instead of thinking about, okay, I'm in this game. I have a player who's going to play as hard for me. And she has a good player. So I understand Danny's frustration. So hopefully they can get it together, but it seems like they're not. And it's just a riffle. And I don't know how long they're going to last. I hope they make it far. But it's going to be a hard dynamic, especially when it comes to these competitions where they have to actually talk and communicate and know things about each other and how they work. So we get to voting. What happens then, guys?
Well, that's when they end up. Yeah, please.
No, go ahead.
No, I think you could do it more concisely.
Yikes. Okay, well, we get to voting. Because Kellyanne and Tristan, they end up winning, and Jody and Benha from Argentina, they end up losing. So those two teams are removed. Now they're voting on the team that's going to go in against Jody and Benha. There are 6 teams voting. And the team that receives the most votes is Kiki and Darrell from Team Australia. That's the only team that the rest of the pairs can seem to come to a consensus on. But then you also have Australia that's nominating each other. You have Emily and Yas saying Kiki and Troy's names. Because now that Casey is a part of Team Australia, they're not really trusting Troy anymore since they know that Casey's always going to have stronger loyalties elsewhere, and that's fair. But, like, why are you looking at your own country, before you're looking at Tori and Danny, before you're looking at Sarah and Theo, Kaz and Jordan?
But we get to elimination. Ben Ha and Jody are in elimination, and they have to go. They have to go against Casey and Troy. This competition that they're doing, I thought was very interesting. You have Ben Ha and you have Jody. Ben Ha is going to be the person that's going to look over the beam to get the shapes and the colors and whatever. And then you have Jody who's going to hold him up. I don't know if that was a good play, but I know Jody was backwards against the. I think Jody was thinking in her head, like, I don't know if Ben Ha's going to understand what I'm saying to him, so maybe I will feel more comfortable controlling and controlling the letters. That's a hard one because I think she just didn't know what to do. I think no matter what, that wasn't a good challenge for them because of the communication of the language barrier and how they communicate. So
I did love Casey and Troy's strategy, though, of just picking the same shapes or the same colors first, rather than like going across any rows. They're like, these two are the same, put one here and one there, and these two are the same, put one, that one goes there and there. And I thought that was a good call. But yeah, the communication was for sure challenging. I will say Ben Ha, he had such a pleasant vibe and energy. Like, I was truly sad just to see him go because I just enjoyed his like energy and his spirit and like his pride for Argentina and for just life, and he had such a nice, fun, a good energy.
Opa!
No, that's Greek.
Oh shit! I was close.
They speak Spanish. No.
Other than that, we're gonna miss Ben Ha and Jody, and they played a good run. Now Argentina's out the game. We have our first country out the game. What is your predictions for tomorrow? Who do you think is going to be the next team to go? Kai, who do you think is going next?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who can even be put in. I'm like, if the next house vote, yeah, I don't know. I think that, you'd think the chaos between like Danny and Tori could be enough to get them sent in, but I also feel like overall they both as individuals have enough people that are looking out for them that wouldn't happen necessarily. Yeah, it'd be I think the bigger thing is the distrust between Team Australia seems to be something that is going to come to a head very soon, if not this next episode, where they're going to throw in one or two of each other, or the house is going to, because they're like, well, they're already fracturing. We got rid of one country. Let's get rid of another country that has some strong players. And I see it being somewhere in Australia. I see that discourse coming to a head. Discord.
Hannah Chada, your thoughts? Quickly.
No, I agree with Kai. I think Team Australia is on the brink, on the verge of falling apart, and I think we're unfortunately going to lose one of them, or at the very least, the House is going to vote one of them into elimination. Now, I don't know who's going to end up losing the challenge, and then who's going to end up losing the elimination. A lot of factors there. Who's going to end up winning the challenge and being safe, but I do think that one pair from Team Australia will find themselves in the elimination.
I agree with that, and I feel the same way that you guys do. And I mean, who's going to win the challenge? The Yacht. The Yacht is going to win the challenge every season. Just know the Yacht crew is always going to win.
You mean the whole game? Because they haven't won a single comp.
I'm just talking in general. I'm just messing around. Yeah. But Kai, before we let you go, I just want to know, for the ladies and also the men, who are you dating?
What? That was so random.
Are you single? Who are you dating? Who are you single? Tell us what's going on. No. Are you still available? Are we allowed to rekindle? I don't know. What's going on?
I like to keep that shrouded in mystery. I think that no, I think
you are a mystery man.
Yeah, I love to keep people guessing. That's just more fun that way. At least for right now. You
Okay.
know?
All right. So
Heart's a
what's
tricky
next for
thing.
you? I know you're the heart is a tricky thing, and you are very good with playing with it. But I will say this: what do you have next coming up for you? Tell us what's next for you. What are you working on? I know you said I see you doing stuff for autism and all the positivity that you're putting out there, which I love. That it really does help me, especially me being such an evil bitch. I really appreciate that you being so positive. It really does mean a lot. I'm serious about that. But what else is going on? Tell us.
It. Well, yeah. So I'm just more content around the things I'm passionate about. So I have been putting out some more content just around like autism and neurodivergence, and compassionate communication is kind of the underlying theme there. So it's like I bring in my perspective from neurodivergent like lens, but the main goal is just how to speak to each other and understand each other with more compassion, because then it can allow for like more empathy to find its way, and more understanding. I think that's like my greater goal with that. And then personally, I have expanded, if you guys are watching this right now, then I should have out at least my first vlog episode of like kind of recapping some of the stuff I've been up to. So I'm really excited about that. Like I said, Family Fun Pack has been helping me work on some on that content on my own, and doing some stuff with them. So the plan there is to just have, at least 2 of those kind of what's been going on for the past couple of weeks, a month. So the first one is out now if you're watching this. And yeah, just on my channel, Kyland Young. And then, of course, every once in a while I'll throw in random stuff talking about movies, just because I love to go on rants and reviews about films just because I love them. So those are the 3 main sort of content avenues where you can find me.
Well,
and where can everyone? Where can we find you at? Where can everyone follow you at? Where can everyone? And what about Kai complaints? Are we ever gonna get? Are we ever gonna get Kai complaints again? We need it in our lives.
I'll have to find something. I'm sure I'll have something. Right now, you know what? Right now it's with Spectrum. Right now I got beef with Spectrum Internet giving me problems right now today. So they're supposed to be here right now within the next hour. So hopefully we'll have some updates there. That's my biggest Kai complaint right now. But so the wherever you can find me, it's YouTube is Kyland Young, and then Instagram is Kyland Young. TikTok is Kyland.Young. We're working on fixing that, but yeah, it's Kyland Young everywhere else.
Well, thank you so much, Kai, for joining us today, recapping BBCan, Survivor, and the Challenge World Championship. Sorry about the shade, but just because you're here and, we're being confronted with your face, that does not mean that the shade is going to subside. You knew what you were signing up for. But just thanks for entertaining us, and we're really excited to see what you have been working on. Make sure you guys check out his vlogs and his socials, and just thanks, Kai.
No, and I love you.
Yes.
And I love you, number 4, Quattro. You mean the world to me. Ucho, you mean the world to me. And thank you so much for coming on this podcast. I know you're going to do big things, and I appreciate you opening up about, your life and, autism and the spectrum and everything. And I think that's just great, and just continue doing all that positivity. And I know we'll hopefully see you again traveling the world, because we can't keep up with you, or somewhere hanging out with somebody in the challenge, or even on the challenge. We don't know, but hopefully I hope that for you one day. And I hope one day I see you in elimination so I can send you home, because I love you so much.
No, well, I appreciate it. I love you both. I just want to recognize you guys for doing this show, keeping up with it, because I feel like, anyone who's created content, like doing something consistently can be challenging. You guys have done it week after week, bringing so much energy, watching all of these shows and engaging with so many people about them, not like on your show, and then also everybody watching. So I am just so proud of you both, and I love you both, and I'm so thankful to be here with y'all. I feel special just to be here, shade and all, and proud of you guys. Keep it up, and I'll keep seeing you guys here and everywhere else soon.
Oh, number 5 and number 4. Thank you guys so much for joining once again of us watching the Royalty.
Should have been number 1.
Thank you so much for watching the Royalty. Guys, remember to like and subscribe, comment, and I love you both, Kyland and Hannah.
Love you too, siblings. No matter how estranged we can be sometimes, because you guys drive me nuts. But bye, guys.